Alright, let's have a quick overview over the material layer base Uber shader. To start, you can go into the MLS folder and apply to your geometry the base MLS material instance. Once you open it, you have two tabs. In the details, it's the main tab where we usually control the materials. For the material layer system, we're gonna be opening the layer parameters. This is where all the materials for the layering system are going to go. Let's select from the list our Uber shader. For the Uber shader, you'll be seeing all the parameters of the instance right in the layer parameters tab. Let's start by opening the texture dropdown. Here is where you can add all your maps. We'll be using for this example an albedo, a normal map, and a packet texture map. Let's go to our texture folder and drag and drop our albedo, our normal map, and our packet map. For the packet map, as you can see, on the red channel, you have all the information for the occlusion. On the green channel, you have all the information for roughness. And on the blue channel, all the information for the displacement. Back in our material, you see ORTP, which stands for occlusion, roughness, and displacement, namely the red, green, and blue channel. Some packet blue textures have different naming, like this imperfection grunge one. In this case, our grunge material has MR for metallic and roughness. Since there are different kinds of packet textures, we created a way for the user to select which one he will be using. In the number 7, you can find the texture properties, occlusion, displacement, metallic, opacity, and roughness, and you can manually select from which channel of the packet texture each of these properties will be reading from. So in our case, occlusion goes to red, roughness goes to green, and displacement goes to blue, which is our default configuration. Going over the properties of the materials, you can see on global we have tiling and offset parameters, where you can tile and offset your texture freely. On the number 1, you have albedo control, where you can change the tint of the material and also the properties directly into it, being red, the saturation, green, the brightness, and blue, the contrast. For the metallic controls, you can control all the metallic properties within these parameters, and if your metallic map is not contained inside the packet texture map, where you would be able to select which channel it's coming from, you can check exclusive metallic map, and now you can add a specific metallic map for your material. For the third one, you can control occlusion strength, you can control roughness individually, max and minimum, you can control the normal strength on the texture, and you can control the displacement. You can fully enable or disable displacement as a whole, but for default, we leave it checked. But as you can see, if you go closer to the mesh, there isn't no displace occurring yet. For this, you need to change the bias from the main point. And then you can see the displacement taking effect. You need to be very careful with these values, since the displacement can be very... If you need further control, you can change the height, the high point, and the low point. Also, back in the details panel, you can change the displacement scaling altogether. And in combination with these parameters and the ones in here, you have full control of the displacement of your texture. Furthermore, if you are using a opacity map, you can change and control opacity. For the opacity map, there is a control for the source of the opacity. If your opacity are on the packet texture map, you can set it here from where it's coming from and leave this value at 0. If your opacity is coming from an opacity texture map, you need to set this value to 1. And if your opacity is stored into the albedo alpha channel, you need to set this value to 2, as stated on the text right next to it. And last, you have the specular control for the material. This is all the controls that you get from the material layer system Uber shader. This gives you full control over any types of material that will be seen further when we start talking about layering. See you in the next one.